Okay, actually, I don't know how to start this video. I'm just saying that I'm glad that I'm making progress in it, and that's all. Really, this video is going to be talking about why somebody might not like slice of life mangas or romance or any kind of ones that's refers to real life. And yes, shonen is excluded simply because the shonen genre usually has a lot of powers in it, and obviously there are real world powers there, like status. If you can command a voice, if you can project your voice, there are leaders out there that can command a crowd. Principals, presidents, mayors, they're all example of people that can command power. But of course, what kind of power I'm talking about. So the reason why you might not like slice of life or romance mangas, or many slice of life, because romance is in a lot of genres, just simply because romance is profitable. If you have like the tag romance in your manga, your novel, or a TV show, anything really, it sells a lot. Now there's this thing in manga that I realized that okay, sometimes you do this thing where I'll just go to any Google manga app, and I just randomly look for any manga, and then like I did for every genre: shonen, romance, adventure. Then I did for slice of life. Once I did that, I started downloading a lot of slice of life mangas just so I can like start reading it. Now I started reading the first 5 chapters of each. Then and the first chapter usually it is slow, but I can bear it. I can bear it being that slow. Then after 10 chapters or more, like you start realizing how slow it could be. And I think it's a very consistent thing with like the slice of life manga. And of course, there's some sort of manga that are like Gomi-san can't communicate. She has a goal, like she has a goal, and for me, it doesn't need to be fast paced. Like there's some slice of life that's not fast paced whatsoever, that like there's some they're all slow, like A Trail of Blood. That's slice of life manga is very slow, yet it doesn't really feel that way. When you like look at a typical slice of life manga, they kind of drag a lot of the plot and a lot of the thing that makes you want to watch it. Like there's this one, I forgot what it's called, but basically there was this classroom that had a girl in it, a classmate. Then one day the classmate disappeared. Now a lot of strange things start happening in that class, and then nobody knows what's going on. So this new transfer student goes into the class, and now everybody every time this name is mentioned, but for some reason, I don't remember why, but for some reason, the main character knows about this person, this classmate. They don't know about the name. So every time this person mentions the name, asks who this person is and stuff, they all just keep quiet. And yes, the suspense is built by doing that, because now you kind of want to know what's so strange about this classroom, what's going on. But they tell you it's strange, right? And everyone acts strange when you mention the name, but you kind of want to know more. And then as you know more, as you talk more, and you end up seeing the person, the main character, and you thought, wow, okay, it's moving somewhere. And then in the next few chapters, there's not even a mention of it. And yes, obviously, some stories can have like B plots, when there's the A main plot, they can have B plots. That's cool and all. And yes, a lot of famous manga take a step back from the main story, the main action, either to either build suspense, maybe to like give us time to catch our breath. Like Maji did this too, where like after a great fight, I won't spoil that one, they start doing this ship traveling thing, and Alibaba, one of the main characters, he started acting like an idiot, but that was cool. It dragged. It didn't drag. It didn't. After a long battle conflict, it gave us some time to rest. It might have felt like some, but I think it was okay. And One Piece does this the manga One Piece starts as well, where like after a big fight, there's like this little time where like yes, they do develop other characters for the next arc. They do develop things for the next arc, yet they still it gives it time to breathe, you know, and it feels. I think it's one of the reasons why One Piece is so successful. You know, there's a lot of other reasons too, but you know what? It's not a One Piece video; it's a slice of life video. So yeah, and this is kind of very consistent in like other slice of life manga I've read. Like yes, of course, like I'm trying to say, there are some that are amazing. You know, some I haven't watched, like Career Lovers War. That is amazing. That I haven't read the manga actually. I watched the show. In the show, mwah, right now, just I love it. Now, but then I feel like when it comes to this genre, it's very, very small, and obviously maybe it could just be that you don't like it, you know, you don't like slice of life manga, or maybe just because you don't. No, I don't think it's that too. You know, I personally have read a lot of shows that are slow, you know, even slice of mangas, like I already mentioned Kaguya-sama. I watched that one. Komi-san Can't Communicate, I read through all of it. I'm not at the latest yet, you know, because reasons. But those show, and also Trail of Blood, those mangas, even if they're slow, they have something to keep you reading. And I feel like a lot of these, you know, new slice of life mangas, I have nothing compelling enough for you to keep on reading, or there is something compelling, like the example I just told you earlier, but then they drag it simply because life is kind of like that too, you know. I'm not saying that's the reason why that author or other author, a lot of manga do that, but I do think life is kind of boring, you know. So, certainly you can make your life interesting, all that stuff, but generally you're gonna have a lot of moments in your day where it's slow, it takes forever for next day to come along, you know. Some moments aren't gonna be as fun or as fast paced as other moments. That's okay, you know. I don't think slice of life manga try a lot. I don't think the genre itself, or like the successful ones, try to mimic life. They try to at least incorporate life elements, like elements that we associate with life, like romance, school life. Yeah, okay, that's also a genre too, but you know, you get what I'm trying to say. School life, parents, you know, incorporate that, and they also incorporate their own twists. Other like the main characters are super smart, or like, sometimes it's just a normal story, right? Like Gomi-san. Okay, it's a stretch to say Gomi-san is normal. That's a stretch. But even if the main character isn't that interesting, or the plot is that interesting, there are other factors that can make a slice of life manga amazing. And I feel that, and also I've read a lot, like and I can't go past I can't go past a lot of slice of life mangas. You know, I can't go past chapter 10 for a lot of them. Some I can, but I hardly finished them. You know. One thing though, but I forgot his name, but the mangaka, or like the creator of Trail of Blood, I've read his other series. I forgot. I think it's called Happiness. I kind of forgot, but I'll say this. He knows how to build suspense. When it comes to slice of life, I think he really nails it. And yes, there are some other elements to it that makes it more interesting, but I don't know how to explain it really, but the way he does it just works in a way that a lot of mangakas or people that want to make slice of life, there needs to be something interesting. There needs to be an interesting plot. There needs to be interesting characters. You know, you can have both, but you don't need to have both, right? Both would be nice, but you don't need to have both, right? At least have something interesting. And if you have an interesting point, like let's say it's an interesting plot, consistently build upon that plot, you know? I think that's like a basic story writing thing of like build suspense, build. You want to keep this up unless it's a tragedy. But even tragedies, right? You know, even with them, there's an element of escalation. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, but there's a level of, you know, going up. Even if the main characters or people are dying, a lot of people dying, there's like this thing. There's progress. Yes, progress. That's what a lot of it means, you know. Life, okay, for some people there is progress, but the progress is very slow, and maybe sometimes like mangas are trying to recreate that process of being slow progress, like how life is, but that really does take away the experience. It goes to like another point I want to make, like character writing. You want to make a character relatable. At the same time, you do not want it to be realistic. Now, let's explain about this point. When I say relatable, I mean that they have certain characteristics about them, certain traits that few humans either, or like archetypes. Archetypes are a good way, unless it's not overused, it's a good way for us to put ourselves in the character. If a character is shy, is at school, you can just think of it like the shy girl, you know, and then you can already relate, because maybe you are a shy girl or shy boy, or maybe you just, you know, very charismatic, very outgoing, but you can still relate to a shy person, you know. Maybe you have a friend that's like that too, and that's fine. Have certain traits, characteristics, background, right? At the same time, don't try to mimic humans. Humans are very complicated. Like, and I don't think I need to say this, but humans are complicated. And if you are a writer or mangaka, I don't think it's a good idea, right? Especially if you want to make a show interesting, to mimic humans, okay? Unless you try to mimic a very let's say far end, very extreme version of a human, right? Even with the extremes, okay, now this is a personal thing, even with extremes, and I won't name example of extremes, okay, because yes, YouTube is kind of crazy, you know. Even with the extremes, there will be moments where that, let's say, extreme person is human, you know. So it's very hard for you to mimic real life characters. And although in our life we might have a lot of friends, or we might have, like, we know people, and we can, you know, say that there's something distinct about all of them. This person is this person is that, you know. Fundamentally, the more you get closer to them, the more you talk to them, the more of your personalities blend together, and that makes sense, obviously. Then as you do that, there's like it becomes harder for people to distinguish you guys, and the only distinctions are very, you know, nitpicky, you know, like this person one time did this, and it's just that one time they did it, you know. Humans, and yes, it always depends, right, on the place, but when you talk about groups, especially school life, right, I think we can all agree there's like a lot of the people there are very similar. They have a similar belief in something, like maybe in Christian school, obviously they're going to have like a similar belief in Christianity. Maybe in the normal school, they can have a similar belief in maybe hard work, if that's what the principal is trying to advocate, you know. There are going to be so much similarities, and for you to try to mimic all these elements, and I didn't even list them up, but for one person to mimic all these elements into one character, right, and try to spread them in different characters, it's gonna be too draining, man, too draining. And that's probably, I feel it's also one of the aspects of like a lot of sci-fi life manga. They try to make a character too real, to a point where it's, yeah, let me get too real. But yeah, that's just me rambling on about why some might not like slice of life mangas, or I didn't even go romance, because romance is, yeah, what else? Romance is like thing, and I won't talk about it. Yeah, yeah, like and subscribe, man.